It's a brand new week, and we're back here on your favorite all-women talk show, Sister Sister, live on City FM and City TV. We're also live across Sub-Saharan Africa on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182. Thank you so much for joining us once again. The show is brought to you by Vodafone. Together we can. Talia Rice, always coming home to love. Onga, Mama's helping hand. Kel White, happy smile. And Geisha, African strength. Now, we're going to go for a quick break. When we come back, I will tell you exactly how you can interact with us on the show today. Plus, we meet our sisters, and then we jump right into the very interesting messages that we receive on the show today. So, yeah, don't go anywhere. Stay with us. And hello there, welcome back. All right, so let's jump right in. There are various ways that you can reach us on the show today. You can send a quick email to jessica@cityfmonline.com. You can send a WhatsApp message to 054-998-6996. And you can alternatively just find us on Facebook at Sister Sister LIVE. Sister Sister Live, like our page, send us a DM, or just join the engagements on our wall. We're growing the family, and we'd love to have you on board. Great. So now that you know how you can interact with us, let me say hello to my sisters on the show with me today. I've got Demi and Ceci joining me. Ladies, so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
What's going on? How are you doing?
Good, Jess. I'm fabulous.
Great.
Yourself?
I'm all right. Can't complain.
It's always good to see you.
Indeed. But we need to stop meeting on the show,
right?
And meets.
Gotcha.
You know.
I know.
What's an outstanding?
And we will.
Yeah. Don't be a stranger. Stop that. It's like we're good friends. We only meet on the show.
I'll change.
You better change.
I will.
Change your ways. 2021.
Change Charlie, you see you.
2021.
I owe you plenty.
Yes.
I'll catch up.
Yes. Please do. Ceci, what's up? Your hair is like, you're matching outfits with your hair.
Yeah.
I love it though. I mean, what are people saying? They like it?
Life is full of color, so I like to experiment.
Why not? It looks good. It actually looks really, really good. I'm so jealous right now, but I wouldn't admit it. Let's say hello to Claudia. How you doing, Claudia?
I'm good, and you?
I'm all right. Can't complain. You know how it is. How's Berlin?
We are coping. It's been good so far.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Right, we will jump right in because people are waiting, and we don't like to keep our viewers and listeners waiting, do we? We'll jump right in. So this one says, good evening, sisters. I'm 30 years old, and I've been dating this wonderful 30-year-old woman for the past 2 years. We hope to get hitched next year. Now, the problem is I love sex, and I was open about it to my woman from the start. I asked her if she was into sex, and she said yes. But I don't think she's a sex person. She can go months without it and be fine. Yet I get frustrated, stressed, and unhappy. We've had this conversation twice, but the value is still the same. I really don't want her to be having sex just because I asked. I want it to be a mutual thing. I don't want to be in a marriage and still not get any. What do I do? Please advise. All right, Demi, darling.
Jessica's doing me the honors.
Yes.
Oh, my gentleman. He's 30.
Yes.
Oh, just to be blunt, I think he's putting too much agency and focus on sex at this point. And it sounds like it's a little too much about him. Because he was saying he gets stressed and unhappy and everything.
Frustrated.
But sex is not everything. It is important though, but in the things we need, is it really a physiological need? Then by now, all the people who are celibates and the monks and everything would have died, right? So it just depends on how much value you place on it. And at this point, they are not even married. So really, sex should not be that much premium. I mean, does he want to know if he's compatible with her so that when they do get married?
Yeah.
But if he thinks he's not and they've had the conversation, I don't know how the conversation went. Did they really tackle the issues? Maybe she has some other problem that has not been addressed. Maybe he's not able to fulfill her needs so she can go without it. I mean, this could not be all about her. It could also be about him. I mean, there are several different things that are coming into my head now. And really, if he's considering marriage with her, sex, any married person will tell you, after a while, the frequency, the need, the urgency, the everything, not the passion, we keep the passion, but other things, other competing priorities come in, children come in, all of those things, and sex really, really takes a back burner sometimes, where you even have to work at it to bring it back to the fore.
Wow. Okay.
So really, my guy, I think you should think about other things that make for a stable relationship that will equal a stable marriage in the future. And these are, how do you communicate? How do you solve problems? What about finances? All these other much bigger issues. So I think you should pause a bit on the sex thing and really, really consider other factors. I don't think they're incompatible, as she says, and if if indeed they are incompatible, and he wants to see how he can salvage it, I don't even think salvage is the right word. I don't think this relationship is beyond salvageable at all. I don't think this is that critical. I think it's the desires incidental to youth that are really pushing him in that direction with that physical need, and over time that physical need, that, I mean, it will come down. So maybe he's not ready for marriage if he really wants to satisfy that edge as urgently as it's sounding over here.
Right.
So there are more important things to focus on, my friend. But if you want to do some counseling, the sex therapy, couples counseling, you can find out what really are the issues. But what pleases him may not be what you're doing or what you think you might be doing. So there are different things,
right,
that they should consider.
Cool. Ceci, what do you think?
All right. So I'm thinking a lot of scenarios. Okay, so it could be that maybe they are not married yet, so she doesn't feel the need to grant it frequently. Also, this could also be a sort of test drive or a red flag for him to know that, Charlie, the way you like the thing, no, that is not how she likes it. Okay, so there's too much focus on sex. In that, everything he has spoken about, okay, I'm stressed and everything, and it's all about what will make you happy, but you are not considering what possibly could not make her want to have it normally, like you would want to. Maybe yours is beyond normal, because
like
the way you're saying that,
yeah.
So it looks like yours is beyond normal, and then she's like normal, average sex liker. So you may want to find out why. Probably she is not that sexually attracted to you.
Could be.
It could be. Okay, because if already you guys are sexually active with each other, if you give her and then she likes it, hey, she would always want to come back. Okay, but if you don't have that conversation with her, you will never know. So find out. Not like go attack her and say that, hey, every time I want sex you are saying, is she refusing? Is it that she doesn't make the move, or she doesn't, are you the one always making advances at her, say, or she's just there and then you make advances and then it happens, or anytime you want to do it, she says no, you didn't mention it, so I don't think that is the cause. Okay, so it looks like maybe she's not the one initiating it. You always have to be the one to, that makes you feel. So
and she can
if you do not initiate, so if you do not initiate for months,
it never happens.
It never happens. So that conversation is very important. I cannot emphasize enough, communicate, because you are not a magician to know why she is not responding like you would want her to. And like I already said, you are too fixated on sex. If that is your only reason for being in this relationship, then I don't think you need to move on. Leave the poor girl alone. Don't come and stress somebody's daughter. Because if she's like the average sex person and then you are like overboard, there will be a problem. Okay, I'm not saying that your love for sex is bad. if you move over from her, you'll find somebody who matches your love for sex. So please do her a favor. If you think that you are not compatible as far as your love for sex is concerned, let her go. Don't come and stress her.
Okay. Claudia, what do you think?
I would approach it from the cultural perspective because we have very different attitudes towards sex, men and women, in the Ghanaian society. They are the liberated ones who can ask for sex whenever they want sex. And there are those who still think asking a man for sex makes you look cheap. So now it's quite difficult to tell if she's playing hard to get or she really doesn't like him. And there's also this thing about no sex before marriage and this whole conception about if he sleeps with you too much, he might not marry you. So you have to sort of like manage it. So there's a lot of cultural misconceptions and narratives about sex. So it's more of a communication thing between the two of them. And for him to establish that, oh, okay, it's not a cultural thing. She just doesn't like sex. Then there's no reason for him to be there. But I also don't think there's anything as being fixated with sex or liking sex too much. We all have our love language. Some people just like to get gifts and they are okay. Some like to be complimented, they are okay. Some like to be touched and they are okay. His is sex. And it would be very unfair for him to end up with a woman who doesn't speak the same language with him. And the statistics have showed that after marriage, you get little sex. So if even in the relationship stage, you are not getting much, and you still don't know why you're not getting much, I would be very afraid that, okay, I've heard that after marriage, I mean, the drive goes down, and now she doesn't even want to give it to me. So what happens after sex? What happens after marriage? So I totally understand him. He has identified what he wants in a relationship. Now he has to establish if he is with the right person because he deserves it. And it's also for the woman to also discover herself and say, okay, you are not the right man for me because we are not on the same level. So it's a communication thing. They have to decide what they want. But for me, I would tell him to go with his guts. We all know what makes us happy in relationships. And if he's prioritizing sex, probably she's good in other areas or he's covered in other areas. And the only stumbling block for him now is good sex. And he needs it to be happy. He deserves it. But he needs to be with the right person who also sees it as a need, who also feels the same agency, who has the same passion, so that then they can be compatible on that level. But for me, I would want him to establish if it's more of a cultural thing of the woman typically saying, oh, before marriage, I'm not supposed to have sex, or I'm not going to give him too much, or he won't marry me. So then she's probably going to change after marriage. But there's so much uncertainties here. So they need to talk, because I mean, even when it comes to sex, communication is like the number one love language when it comes to sex. So if they are not establishing these basics as to likes, dislikes, conception, misconception, and it's 2 years being together. So they really are wasting time if they've not tackled these very, 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 very basic issues. But he shouldn't slow down. If he likes sex, he should be vocal, he should be honest about it. No need to lie to the companion and love of your life. Make it known and then move on if it's not working for you.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything Claudia said. So let me jump into some messages. Ibrahim says dating is meant for compatibility and it doesn't necessarily have to end up in marriage. Have a frank discussion with her. If you're not compatible, break up. Posh says marry her and enjoy your conjugal rights, period. You shouldn't be feeling so entitled. Papa says, but you're not married, so why the pressure? Probably she wants it after marriage. Stop thinking about sex and divert that attention into your business. If after marriage she's still like that, then a counselor perhaps can step in. One says you're just dating, but you want to enjoy something you haven't paid for all the time. Bro, waiting. Get yourself busy. Stop thinking about sex. If after all this you don't marry her, who loses? By then, you don't open the Jerusalem gate wider. Martin says, well, have you considered the possibility that sex with you probably sucks? I bet if she was getting the best sex of her life, she'll be begging for it all the time. So perhaps you may need to improve your game. Remember, women are totally different from men. Try to focus on giving her a great experience rather than simply focusing on your pleasures. Gifty says, at 30 years, you should be thinking of working hard. Your peers like Mark Zuckerberg are busy building Facebook and buying Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. And you're here talking about sex, which after working hard and making enough money, you can have till thy kingdom come. See, Mumu. Really? All right. So it's Sister on 97.3 City FM and City TV. Your comments are welcome. Remember, 054-998-6996. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back.